Hello everyone, welcome back to the 12 days of SOAPMAS. My name is Katie Carson. Today we are going to be testing cheap versus expensive Amazon soap kits. I bought the cheapest and I bought the most expensive. So basically what I did was I typed in the words soap kit and then I sorted from least expensive and then I sorted from most expensive. Of course, there were some options that came up that were not complete soap kits. It was just like the first thing that came up, I think, was a silicone mold. So I bought the first actual soap kit in those search results, which happened to be this Universe rainbow soap kit. Now this thing fluctuates by $1 or $2, but when I bought it, it was $9.78. Then we have this 𝘂𝐪𝑒 brand soap making kit that comes with a ton of different individual items. This was the most expensive kit on Amazon at $79.99. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I honestly thought that this kit was just gonna be a compilation of a lot of different Amazon products thrown into a box because the product photo kind of looks that way. So I'm interested to see if all of those things are actually in this box or if the product photo is slightly misleading. I think we should start with the least expensive soap kit and see what we think. So let's unbox it. Okay, here is the front of the kit. So it looks really, really cute. I love the little hearts. I hope they are that pigmented whenever we make the soap. Ooh, so pretty. Okay, so they have a little embed mold, super cute. They have our little soap mold here and a little bit of melt and pour. Looks like this is a very clear melt and pour. This is about 10 ounces or so of melt and pour. I love the packaging. That's really cute. So we've got our colors. We have our little molds here. We even have some special glitter and our soap that looks like this is a little more opaque and this is clear. So I bet these are for the embeds and this is for the surrounding area. Now, the one thing I'm not seeing in this collection is fragrance. And as this is a kit aimed towards children, I'm hoping that the soap base is pre-scented because that is something you just need. Here are my instructions, and this kit comes with a really cool little poster. On here are some soap facts, like about bubbles and rainbows. Super fun. So we're going to start by adding some colors straight to these cells. They said you can do up to 3 drops. So let's do that real quick. And I think they're having you add it straight to the mold so that you don't have to use another dish, which is awesome. All right, I'm mixing everything up so that hopefully I get all 6 colors of that little primary rainbow here. I'm gonna do 2 yellow and 1 red as our final. Hopefully that will make some sort of orange. And apparently, if I do everything right, I can make 3 soaps with this kit. So I'm going to cut this into thirds. If you're a kid watching this video, this is the part that you bring an adult in for. I hope there's no children out there making soap unsupervised, but just in case there is, have an adult or a friend older than 18 come in and help you with this. Gonna cut that here. I'm just gonna score it on these points so that I know approximately how much I need. That's about even right here. Just chop that, and then you do need a little container. So I'm gonna go get a little container. I'm gonna melt this down for about 15 seconds. Okay, it only took 10 seconds to melt that down, so almost no time at all, and it is quite warm, so I'm going to be careful when I pour this in to make sure that it doesn't melt the little plastic container. And then let's see how well we can mix it with our dye here. Very nice. So our blue is very green. It makes me kind of wonder how green our green is going to be. Very green. Okay, so the blue is blue by comparison. It is kind of hard to stir this in such a way that you keep all the dye and the soap in this tiny container. Maybe I need to get something smaller to stir it and I'd be better off. Okay, I went and got this little tool Oh yeah, that's much easier. Also, that's such a pretty color. I just want to make sure that the whole bottom gets colored. Okay, so those colors are definitely vibrant. They're not exactly the colors that you see in the advertisement, but they're still really pretty. Okay, so I let this sit in the freezer/refrigerator for like, I don't know, 5 minutes maybe? So now I'm gonna try to pop them out of the mold without breaking the mold. The mold is thin, so I would hate to dent it irreversibly, even though it kind of looks like that's exactly what I just did. Let's see if it'll pop back out. Okay, all right, we've made a full recovery. Okay, all of them are out of the embed mold now, and I didn't quite mix this orange one up enough because it looks really good on the back, but then when you turn it over, you can see there's like a little gradient here where I didn't get it all the way to the bottom. But besides that, apparently I also did that to the green one. It's whatever. They actually all look really good. So I think what I'm gonna do is just place all of them facing up like this into my mold. Okay, let's put them in. So I'm going to put these in a way that I think looks very pleasing to the eye. The green and the blue look the most similar, so I'm gonna try to separate those. Okay, this is looking really good. Hopefully they'll stay in place whenever I pour that first layer. Let's go and melt down our clear melt and pour soap base and add a little bit of this glitter to it. A note about the glitter, it is probably not eco-friendly, okay? That's something people typically advertise. So it's probably made out of plastic. We hope for improvement in the future. They will switch over. We have high hopes for that. Okay, I admit it. I am using a popsicle stick, all right? I'm just not gonna use that teeny tiny little stirring spatula, okay? Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit just so that we can see how it works in the other soaps. I won't be adding any of that glitter, but we do kind of want to get an idea of what it feels like in the soap, because I also have a little bit of a suspicion that it may not be cosmetic grade. It might just be a craft glitter, in which case it might feel scratchy on the skin. And I want you guys to know that if it is. So that's why I'm adding it to this one. And that's right, I'm adding something else in. I'm spritzing with rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol is such an easy thing to add to a kit. I don't know why more kits don't have it, because it really does make a very big difference with how your finished product looks. Now I've tried to let this cool a little bit so that it won't be so hot when I pour it onto here, but I'm also gonna spritz these with rubbing alcohol so that hopefully they grab a hold of this soap. And then hot tip, use whatever pouring or stirring utensil that you have to break the fall of your soap, so that it fills around nice and slow and doesn't move your embeds around. That is what I like to do, and it has worked very well for me in the past. All right, now I'm gonna spritz, and we are going to let this set up completely before we demold. Based on how hot everything was and the instructions, I'm gonna bet this has to sit for about 30 minutes to an hour before I can take it out. Okay, so let's talk about the super deluxe soap making kit. Really nice packaging. I will say that this print is upside down, but the box is really sturdy. Nothing fell out during shipping. So let's go ahead and open it up. Ooh, okay. All right, so there's a guide to soap making. No pictures, but that's okay. I'll forgive it. Look at these. So beautiful molds. Hold on though. I love this. I love it. That is so pretty. It comes with some botanicals. Looks like these may be on their way out, admittedly. I would hope for roses you'd see something a little more punchy. But the lavender, that's all right. That's about a medium blue-ish. It's not the most vibrant, but it's certainly not the most brown I've seen. Looks like we have some, what are these, essential oils? Yeah, fragrance oils. We have melt and pour They even gave us a cutter and a loaf mold in case we wanted to try some loaf mold soap making. So this is a very, very complete kit. It comes with 6 different colorants. I bet these fragrances are good too. I can see some of them. We've got blueberry, rose, it looks like sunflower, orchid, cherry, and a vanilla soap cutter. We have some popsicle sticks for stirring. Wow, look at this. They even gave you some fun labels to put on it. I'm pretty impressed. Looks like we have about 4 pounds of melt and pour, and they have the ingredients of the melt and pour listed right here. Now, I personally do not recommend using botanicals with melt and pour. They will turn very yucky colors. Roses will just turn more brown, and the lavender buds will turn very brown and end up looking a little bit like mouse droppings. So I'm going to discard these because these really, in my opinion, should be used as toppings on cold process soap and not melt and pour. So I'm going to set those off to the side for future projects. But this is exactly the mold that I purchased and recommend for beginner soap makers for cold process soap. So if you wanted to dip your toe into melt and pour and then switch to cold process, you would already have the loaf mold that I purchased, and it's worth about $12 or so. So that's great. Then we have our little cutting setup here. So me personally, I have never had that much luck with these types of cutters because when you slide this in, you can see that there's still about 1 millimeter or 2 of wiggle room here. And so I will like put it on an angle and I will still make uneven cuts. Now this is just me. It could work very, very well for some people. I do notice that in between these cuts here, it has not been sanded. So that would be something to look out for. And it is unfinished wood. So if you cut a lot of soap on this, there is going to be buildup. You're going to have to wash it. It would definitely be something I would recommend sealing before you use. Maybe we can do some pretty stuff on these flowers here. Okay, so I have melted down 1/2 of the white soap blocks. So at this point, I think I'm just going to try to cover the bottom of all the little purple silicone molds, and then we'll go from there. I'm not going to add any color or fragrance to this. I'm just going to color in those flowers. Then we'll think about coloring and fragrancing. This is a pretty specific pouring tip, so I feel like it's going to make my job a bit easier. There are some extremely fine parts of this mold, so if I overlap a little bit, that's okay. I just want to make sure that the flowers themselves are covered and everything has gotten into those cracks. So that's fine right there. That's, whoops! Well, that's not the most ideal, but the other one was. Maybe I can just move it around with one of the popsicle sticks, like right to the edge like this. Okay, with all of the white done and everything kind of cleaned up a little bit, I am going to melt this down a little bit more because it's starting to thicken up. Okay, I think it would be really nice for this first set here if we did pink in here. Ooh, okay. So pretty pigmented actually. Yes, very pigmented. 1 drop goes a long way. I'm going to give it a spritz, but I'm also going to spritz my molds and this white melt and pour that I poured in first. Now, I don't know how many I'm going to be able to fill up with this, and I am just going to pour in the corner. So we'll just have to see. Okay, the rest of it, I'm actually going to pour into, I think, the rose, because I don't have enough to do the other soaps, and I think that'll look really pretty with the rose. Just gonna get all of that into there. Okay, then I'm going to cut up this other half, and I'll fragrance it and color it a bit differently, and we'll start filling in all these other cavities as well. I am getting ready to pour the final soap color for the silicone molds. This is the purple, and I added the vanilla to this one, so it's going to be the one that I watch over the next couple of days to see if it turns brown over time. I'm going to spritz these with some rubbing alcohol, and probably this one too, because I think I might have a little bit left over. Then we're just going to start pouring it in, just like so. Pour some more in. All right, everything looks super good. And these have to sit for quite some time before I can move them, before I can unmold them. The instructions recommended 12 to 24 hours. So I think what we'll do is we will use the loaf mold for the last bit of the melt and pour in this kit. We will fragrance it with cherry and with the blueberry, and we will do it blue and white, maybe. I think that would look really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and melt down both of these blocks, and then we will pour it into our loaf mold. Alrighty, so we are putting the entire cherry fragrance into the white. Oh, it kind of smells like cherry medicine, not gonna lie. And then the entire blueberry one into the clear. Like I said, the white is gonna remain uncolored, and then the clear is going to be blue. So this is the last time I'm gonna stir the white, so I'm going to make sure that I wipe down all the edges. Okay, and now for the clear. This one smells a lot better, in my opinion. All right, and then I'm gonna let these cool down a little bit. They're kind of hot right now, and I feel like if I mix them together, they may blend too much. I don't know. Let's go ahead and test it. Let's test it and see how they do. Like, what happens if we put our little mold here and then I pour them into either side? Are they gonna stay separate? It looks like it. Okay, I'm just gonna keep pouring because this looks so flippin' cool. Wow, okay, well this looks better than I thought it was going to. No lie. Get the rest of that blue out of there. All right, and I am gonna just gently spritz the top. I don't want all that melt and pour to run away and get too mixed up. I just want those little bubbles to be popped, so you don't need too much for that. That looks so good. I can only hope that it stays just like this. All right, and I'm just gonna let it sit there for like 30 minutes or so that I can come back and move all of these items out of the way. Okay, I'm back almost 2 hours later. And believe it or not, this is still warm. Like, it is firm on top, but it's still warm. I don't think I can take it out of the mold. However, the purple ones are completely hard. They're so cute. Also, they smell really good. So let's go ahead and unmold those real quick. I'll start with the ones I poured first, which were the pink ones. Looks like they unmold pretty cleanly. Let's hope I don't pull the detail off. Look how pretty! So obviously we did have, you know, a little bit of that white moving around, but it doesn't seem to matter. Like, you totally get that those are flowers and reeds and stuff. It doesn't really matter that that smeared a little bit. Wow, it still looks so good though. Very gently, because this one has the circle. Wow, so nice. And now for the clear red and white, which I think is going to be the most striking combination. Yes, these are so stunning. Let's go ahead and get some of the round ones out. So this one is our multi-layer soap here that I kind of put all the extras in. Wow, look at that though. That's so pretty. Like I said, the melt and pour really spread into all the areas you want it to. Beautiful. These kind of look like something you might actually see in like a little shop or something. I'm very impressed. Look at her. A little last one here. So gorgeous. Look at these. Okay, but should we go ahead and just risk it anyway with this? I feel like we should. Like, it doesn't feel like it's smushy. It's just still very warm. Will I be able to get it out? Okay. Is it firm? Feels firm, just warm. Look at this, you guys. That is so beautiful. That is so pretty. Using our cutter here, I'm just gonna line it up, I think, with the second one. Let's see, we'll start with the straight edge. I'm gonna push as far to one side as I can so that hopefully I cut this pretty straight. How'd I do? Pretty good? Pretty good, I'd say. That's pretty straight. Look at that. Gorgeous. Now I have pushed it to the very edge so that I can now cut this in half. I feel like I didn't do as good on that one. Yeah, see? Sloped a little to the side there, but look how pretty the inside design is. I am obsessed. Okay, it has been over 2 hours at this point, so we're definitely ready to unmold our soap. I'm gonna start by releasing the sides here and then just pressing on one of the edges. And this is what it looks like on the inside. So I'm really impressed, again, by the clarity of the melt and pour. It looks so good. The sparkles are super, super pretty. And then, of course, it's just the perfect shape for little hands. Still a little disappointed that it doesn't smell, but for $9, getting to make 3 of these, that's pretty good. Now that I have unmolded and cut both of our soap kits, it's time to see how do they perform. We'll start with our cheap soap. So first of all, looks even better when you get it wet. You see, adds to the clarity. Any tiny bit of cloudiness just leaves. I will get both of my hands wet here. I'm not feeling any grit from that glitter like I thought I might. And it lathers very, very decently. If I was a child and I made this kit, I would be pleased as far as like the usability of this soap goes. Very fluffy, very bubbly, very soft. Like it's a really good lather. And sometimes with these cheaper craft kits, the melt and pour is just awful. Like it just doesn't lather at all. But that doesn't seem to be the case with this one. It works really well. Okay, gonna dry my hands in between washings so I don't have any extra residue left on my hands. And let's see, let's go for our purple one here. That looks pretty. This one also has enhanced clarity once you add it to water. And it also bubbles very well. I think it also helps that a lot of these soaps here have some ridges and some bumps. That always helps create lather. Yeah, lather's super good. In fact, I would say this one is even a bit more bubbly than the other one. Okay, so what are my final thoughts and my conclusion about the expensive soap kit versus the cheap one? Well, I have some critiques for both kits. For the cheaper one, I would say no fragrance oil is a big turnoff to me personally. You cannot achieve the colors that they advertise on the front of the box, and it is pretty difficult to mix up those embed colors the way they request that you do without adding in some extra materials. The extra materials I would recommend you use if you buy this kit are a toothpick, a popsicle stick, and some rubbing alcohol. Most of those things you can get at Walmart or a local drugstore, so it's not a big deal, but it is still something you will have to supplement in addition to this kit to make it work the best it possibly can. In the future, I would also love to see the glitter be eco-friendly, but those were my main issues with the kit. The color pigmentation was really good. The clarity of the melt and pour was really good. The soap quality was really good, and you get to make 3 soaps for $9, so around $3 a piece, which is very, very inexpensive for a craft kit. Now over here with the $80 craft kit, some of my critiques would be as follows. Exchange the dried botanicals for a different type of additive, one that is easier to incorporate into melt and pour due to the nature of it. Flowers look bad in melt and pour after about 24 hours. I feel like a lot of what made this particular kit the price that it is had to do with including the miter box and the 2 cutters. Neither one of those things are things that I think are necessary, and I would feel better getting to purchase a kit without those options that was a lot cheaper because they're just not effective in my personal opinion, and I never recommend them to people who are trying to do melt and pour. With this kit, I had to add rubbing alcohol, a toothpick, and a popsicle stick. With this kit, you really just need extra rubbing alcohol and a sharp knife, which you kind of need for this one because you have to cut up soap either way. So less to add as far as this one is concerned. And then the other critique that I have is the fragrances. A lot of the fragrances are in the same kind of scent family, and they smell very powdery to me. I personally feel like they match the designs on the silicone molds. So it's sort of an older, perhaps more mature scent. It's a little more powdery. The color pigmentation is great. The amount of soap that you get in this kit is great. It's like 4 pounds, which is quite a lot. Now, the last thing that I will say as a critique for this particular kit is that you could probably get 4 pounds of melt and pour, whatever colors you personally prefer, 1 or 2 fragrances on Amazon in its own little kit, and whatever mold you personally prefer for cheaper than $80. I don't know for sure. I'm just saying that's my guess. So I do feel like this is just a smidge overpriced, and I wish it didn't include those other items. However, that is my personal opinion. If you really love to use a miter box and a wavy length cutter and that is your jam, then it is a very good price and well worth your money. It is very, very detailed. It's put together in such a way that I think is nice. So who wins? That's the real question. It's hard to say because I kind of am comparing apples and oranges here. This is clearly targeted to adults. This is clearly a child's kit. But I would plunk down another $9 like that to get this kit for my kid. I would hesitate to spend another $80 on this kit just because I trust my own ability to source these materials cheaper. That's not a knock on the kit. It is just saying that I think I could get it less expensively if I shopped a little more. This is a great option. It really is. And it doesn't have any lye in it. So it's also something that's relatively safe, you know? I like them both, but I would buy this one again as a soap maker myself, personally. And if you're watching this so that you can buy something for grandkids, spend $9 and then maybe buy 1 or 2 of them and they can make 6 soaps and that's plenty for any kid. So those are my final thoughts and conclusions. Both of these are great. Both of these are worth purchasing. I will leave links to them down below. This has been a really, really fun and interesting video. If you enjoyed it, give me a big thumbs up. You know, SOAPMAS is one of my favorite times of year, and I love to see which videos you guys prefer that I make. And yeah, have an absolutely royal day. I'll see you in the next SOAPMAS video, and until then, bye for now.